happening?
I'm being animated as in Cicada. And then I'm playing multiple characters that are evil.
The suit has sensors, so we have a computer software that's reading the placement of these sensors. So all the movements is getting registered, and we can transfer those movements to a 3D character.
I'm doing the 3D animation on this project, so right now I'm overseeing the motion capture process. Right here we have Rococo Studio, which is the software that comes with the motion capture suit, and that's part of the reason that we are out here in the countryside, because it just runs more smoothly without any disturbances and magnetic fields and stuff like that.
I think this is the least amount of stuff we brought to a video set as well, so yeah.
Pretty fucking comfortable for once.
Yeah, let's continue doing this. In I väggen där, och sen kommer du fortsätta springa här.
Yes.
Det är de två sakerna vi ska göra sen. Precis, så upp, in i väggen. Där fick vänster här.
Hey kitty. I first heard Going Hunting in a demo version. I thought it was so great and so bombastic and just such a good tune.
To me, it always sounded like like the soundtrack of some superhero movie. If they were a bit better, frankly.
I asked Johannes, well, okay, so what's the lyrics about? What did you have in mind when you wrote this?
In a way, it's about you embracing your darkness. A lot of what we do is about that. But you have that darkness of embracing yourself and maybe the long, painful journey to reaching that point of understanding your darkness. And in that, there's a strong sense of being an outsider.
Going through changes not willingly, but being forced to, and not really being able to cope it, basically going through puberty, I guess. That was my take on it.
The world trying to deal with the emotion of being wrong, bad. And there, of course, you have Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis.
And then Johannes thought it would be a great idea to kind of like do a fan fiction version of it, where the bug doesn't die at the end, but instead it's abandoned by its family and forced to work at a strip club.
Of course, it didn't come literally from that book, with a guy waking up in the beginning of the book one morning in bed and being a big-ass bug. It didn't start with that vision of that son, but it makes perfect sense. That is also someone who is laying in bed and discovering his own body and being an outsider and struggling to come to terms with who you are. Now, Going Hunting is more of a success story than Metamorphosis. And as such, yeah, it turns into fan fiction, doesn't it? When we get to tell a story where that beast who didn't fit in, that beast who is abused, that beast that is you, get to evolve to the next level, to literally rise above as she grows wings and can take off.
It's weird and strange, but at the same time it's based on something that's very familiar for everyone, because most of you who watch the video have gone through puberty yourself. So it's kind of like this broad reference that everyone can relate to. I had an idea for a different style first that was in color. But when we did the first scenes and I sent it to the band, we all kind of felt like it wasn't quite there. And after I'd found that black and white style, to make it stand out a little bit more, I chose the aspect ratio 1:19:1. And 1:19:1, isn't that the same aspect ratio used in a lot of old classic films, you ask? Well, yes, you're right, it is. For example, it's used in these films.
Fix Verschläge noch zu öffnen. Weiter so. Ran hier, los. Vorwärts, komm. Ach, weg da, was soll das denn?
We also dropped the frame rates to just 12 frames per second to give it a bit of a more stop motion feel, a bit more stuttery and a bit more unreal. Another big influence for me when doing the screenplay is the film Carrie, the original by Brian De Palma, not the remake. Fuck the remake, it's crap. Watch the original, it's much better. And there's this terrible scene at the beginning of the film where the main actress is getting her first period in the shower after PE, and she doesn't know what it is. And that kind of like feeling of alienation and being totally alone was something that I tried to capture. And I also think the scenes when she's all alone in her apartment and cracks up and starts bleeding and doesn't know what's happening or if it's gonna die or whatever, and doesn't have anyone to ask about it either, but has no other choice than to just kind of like sit it out. And yeah, there's a lot of that coming from Carrie. And also the ending, I think, but we kind of like decided anything can happen afterwards. It's up to you, the viewers, because like basically we have 5-6 minutes and leaving us with like 3 minutes maybe or 3.5 minutes of runtime to tell this entire story, and that means we can't do the whole kind of like story arc and 3-act structure and things. So this is basically what you usually call the first half of the second act. Kind of like the character has gotten an opportunity, been thrown into something, and is being a part of this new world that it doesn't really know how to navigate in or control. So it's basically being kind of like passive, and things happen to the character, and then at the midpoint is usually where they discover something that, like, okay, I have this power and now I can change things around and start pushing the story instead of being pushed by the story. Maybe the cicada is flying back and getting its revenge on the shadow creatures, kind of like in Carrie. Maybe the cicada did that too, came back and just burned down the club, or maybe just flew away and just left everything and never came back and just kind of like left that part of her behind. But I think it's a good shot though. Kind of like it's very like, it leaves its own shell and leaves the frame too, just leaves the video, and the camera is still there on the shell. I think it's a good ending shot. And speaking of ending shots, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you enjoyed the video for Going Hunting. And for you who have the opportunity, you should definitely go and check out the band on their Going Hunting tour that they're out on right now.